pretty impressive.
I know we're not doing puck yeah or puck no today, but I do want to throw one at you, Frankie. And Bobby, you could chime in on this as well. Puck yeah or puck no, the Kadri deal will go down as the worst move in Kyle Dubas' tenure as GM of the Maple Leafs. And I know we know what we know now, and at the time, a lot of people liked the deal. You were dealing from a position of strength to get a position of weakness. I hated the deal from the start because Barry was not the type of defenseman that we needed at that time, and he proved he showed that when he arrived here.
Yeah, you can't really overthink it. I think that is the one, only because you didn't get the return from Barry, and I guess Kerfoot to the extent. But I think because Kadri's contract was just so team friendly.
I know you had him for
that's what makes it worse.
You had him for 3 more years at 4.5.
But you know what deal could even be worse? And I hate to say it, because it could be coming. It may have been the Muzzin deal.
I disagree with that.
That if Sean Durzi turns out to be a defenseman for LA, that might even be a worse deal. But I knew that was me. But Rob was not in his head. Were you expecting me to say something else?
I was expecting you to say the Marlowe contract.
That was Lou's.
Oh, he didn't give him that.
Was that Lou? Okay.
Yeah.
However, Rob, that's not bad, because with that pick, Carolina selected Seth Jarvis, who's a pretty big player for Carolina right now, so he could have a pretty good career. Hindsight, but yeah, you know what, Joe? Not overthink it. Yeah, it'll probably go down as the worst. I don't think there's any which way about that. So
it's just because we all wanted JT. We were all thrilled with JT signing, but when you look back, JT wasn't really a need. He was a want. He was like a nice shiny toy that we wanted so bad, because no Toronto kid had ever chosen to come back to Toronto, and he did it. But really, you had Naz at 4.5 as your second line center. You could have filled around the edges a lot easier, I think, if you didn't make that move. And also, they've shown so much patience with the core, right? With Matthews, with Marner, with Nylander especially. And all we hear about is patience. I don't know if they showed Naz enough patience, because obviously he's matured now, and Colorado's reaping the rewards from that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Kadri not the third? Was he not the third line center in Tavares' first year in Toronto?
He was, yeah.
He was.
But he's on the first power play unit.
But what was the rush? That makes it even worse. If they were bringing Tavares in and ship Kadri out, I maybe could have seen, okay, you're paying too much for your down the middle. That might be the best depth in the league at the time, if you really think about it. Fast forward to now, you're telling me they couldn't keep him to go one down the middle, 1, 2, and 3? Like that's insane.
It was more like the playoff stuff, though, wasn't it? Like the suspensions.
Of course, it was. Yes.
I think the move was more generate. Don't forget too, when Naz was shipped out, that was Babcock was still the coach. So I think he had a heavy influence of forcing Dubas to get rid of Kadri. I think it was motivated by Babcock. That, just judging by the type of guy he turned out to be, that we all found out about. Kadri burned him twice. I think he was like, get rid of this guy, bring us whatever. And I that's my gut feeling. That's total guess, but that's what it points.
It's a good gut feeling. It's an interesting take. I look at it, and those last 2 series against Boston, every Leaf fan says if we had Kadri during that series, we win that series. Yet you went and traded him after he got suspended those 2 times. I get it. I was one of the ones that said, yeah, you know what, you got to deal him. You can't trust him. But in hindsight, which we have the privilege of looking at it from now, he probably could have used a bit more patience with him and kept him, and he would have grown and would have learned his lesson. And you had him. He was already on the team. It's just so frustrating. If I ask you right now, who's better, Kadri right now or Tavares? You could make an argument for Kadri.
Of course you can, but the contract probably puts a lot of weight to that.
Exactly. Yes.
Right. And even if he's going to get 8 or 9, he's still $2 million less than Tavares. So it's not really looking good from that standpoint, right?
He definitely ran the goalie on purpose though. Like we can all agree. Like like that was, and I saw people like he was not trying to. He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing.
You know, I'm surprised I'm not surprised, sorry, because the Leafs don't have those type of guys. But you're telling me you couldn't have Clifford or Simmons in the lineup doing that to Vasilevsky? I wouldn't talk taking him out, but like drive the net more. Like it's happening. If they're gonna let people get away with it, that's the trend,